Hello everyone. I'd like to share this video with you pertaining to the Jefferson WWII set. And this was produced, these coins were produced in 35% silver from 1942 through 1945. And the reason why they were produced with silver is because nickel is a crucial war element. Nickel is used to make stainless steel. It's used in tanks, it's used in artillery pieces, it's used in the making of vehicles, anything that's going to be, just going to be rugged or that takes a lot of abuse, things that will last long, for a long period of time. Stainless steel is even resistant to acid. I worked in a battery plant, and for years and years and years there was pieces of tooling that was still there that had never been affected by the acid. So it's a very hard and rugged piece of material. Here we have a pic of an uncirculated Jefferson nickel World War II 35% silver set from 1942 through 1945. Now the obverse is the same as it always was, and the reverse has changed in three different areas. First off, your mint marks, which was normally before 1942, located to the right hand side of the coin in between the edge and the Monticello in very small letters. That has now been moved. It's moved to a location just above the Monticello. It is very easily distinguished simply because, number two, the mint marks now are in large letters. You cannot miss these mint marks. And the third is, for the first time, the Philadelphia Mint has now a letter of P for its recognition. This is the very first time throughout U.S. coinage history that an actual P representing Philadelphia has been placed on a coin. Never before had ever one been placed, and never since then until 1979, when the letter P was placed on the Susan B. Anthony dollar. And if you'll notice, the letter P is on the left hand side of the coin, just above her shoulder, in between her shoulder and the star, and that's located about 8 o'clock on the coin itself. And here's all three mint marks over the Monticello. There's the P, Philadelphia, we have the D for Denver, and we have the letter S for San Francisco. Now, before I continue on the coin itself, you have noticed I've been calling Jefferson's home the Monticello, and in fact this is the correct pronunciation for this word. It's just that in English we look at it and pronounce it as Monticello. But the term Monticello actually stands for, in the old Italian language, it stands for little mountain, and in which the Monticello was located on a little mountain of approximately 800 something foot high. Now on with the war nickels themselves. This is very important that I'm fixing to point out to you. This concerns the 1942 D. Now, the Denver Mint did not strike a 35% war nickel in 1942. San Francisco and Philadelphia did, but the 1942 Denver Mint never struck a silver war nickel. They did produce one in 43, 44, and 45. And also let me point out the fact that in 1942, the Philadelphia Mint produced two types of coins. The type 1 is without a mint mark next to the edge of the coin in between the Monticello and the coin itself. There is no mint mark. This is a Type 1 1942. This has no silver content. And here's the Type 2. The mint mark is above the Monticello. Remember, those mint marks above the Monticello is signifying that those particular nickels do have 35% silver content. Now let me finish off by telling you this. Used to, people treated these war nickels, I mean, they just didn't like them because, look, they would turn black, and people would actually do them like the pennies are done today. I mean, you find yourself looking for the war nickels today, but back then they were sort of like nasty. They would sort of turn black because they had manganese in them. And if you look at your Sacagawea dollars and stuff, if you look at the ones that's in circulation, you see how dark they're turning. Well, people didn't like them, and people would actually do things. For example, they would, when they would go places in these parks and these fountains, they would actually throw the nickels instead of throwing the pennies as good luck. They would throw the nickels. They just weren't very popular with the people. They sort of like looked nasty and just people just didn't like them. Now, for those who have found the war nickels interesting, and as far as a numismatic coin, and would like to have one, they're not real expensive. That you could purchase an uncirculated 1942p, which I would recommend simply because they are your very first U.S. coin to ever have the Philadelphia mint mark P located on the coin, and it is the very first issue of the silver war nickels. And you can acquire one of these in uncirculated condition anywhere from $10, $12, $14, $15, more or less like the $12, $13, $14 area. It's a very inexpensive coin that you can have, and they're just really neat. And what I want to do now is I want you to notice over to the right over there in my information box, I'm going to post a link. Now, by going to this site, you're going to learn so much about Jefferson. I have found out that this, in my opinion, he is the smartest president that we have ever had. Now, I know there's been a lot of presidents, and a lot of people may have favors, but if you go through the virtual tour at the Monticello, throughout the tour, it tells you and explains to you their daily lives. I mean, it was back then. It was all about education. There was no video games. They had nothing to focus on but learning and education. Jefferson could read in 4 different languages. He actually studied architecture just through books and being friends with other people, that he designed own home. He designed his own home. And I could just go on and on, but you're going to realize the intellect that this president had. And once you find out a lot about him, it just makes you wish that he could be alive today. And I just know that so many problems could be solved simply by having another president as Jefferson was. Now, for those of you that might be interested in purchasing an uncirculated set, they run you probably at this time probably $110, maybe $120. But believe me, people, once you have one, you'll really appreciate the fact that you did get you one. Y'all have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the video.